what is the proportion which are intact forest. 172 square kilometer is a kind of intact forest of the 463 square kilometers. Now we know the extent of the forest ecosystem. We know the condition of the ecosystem. With that, we started the ecosystem services. So we had an opportunity to enjoy the fruits in the region. When we had a discussion with these ladies, they gave us the data about how often they go to the forest, what is the quantum of this kind of fruit they collect, and what is their livelihood aspect. We use the data to do the quantification. And of course, we supplemented the data with the data that is available in the forest department record. And there are some studies people have carried out in the study region. NTFP. The forest department also gives the record thing. Then, but we have two scenarios which I'm going to show you soon. Okay. Then we did the water, as I said earlier. We have done the catchment yield as we did in Karnataka. This one we did the same thing, which shows about the 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 worth of the water is about 7,211 million rupees per year. Okay, so we have looked at the water required used for the drinking, agriculture, livestock, etc., and then for electricity generation. So we have looked at this one, and then accordingly we have assigned the values for the this one electricity as well as the water used for the drinking and irrigation, etc. Okay, so then, as I said earlier, the non-timber forest produce, you have two scenarios. The first scenario is based on the published literature in the neighborhood watershed, and the other one is based on the forest department records. The forest department record values are slightly higher compared to the data of the study done by the researchers. We have used the scenario one to quantify this one, which is about 42 million rupees per year as against the 76 million rupees as per the forest department the data. Okay, then we have done the fodder. We know the spatial extent of the grassland and also the accessibility. When we talk to the local people, they said that about 8 months in a year they go out and collect the grasses for or take the animal for grazing, etc. And based on the what is the cost of the fodder in the market and the cost of this one, we quantified what is the services provided by the forest in terms of the fodder, which is about 411 million rupees per year. Okay. Then we have the fish. Fishery department has the data, and also we got the data about the market price from the fishery department and the cost of that, which amounts to about 109 million rupees per year. So then fuel wood, again we had this one. What is the per capita the fuel wood consumption, and also we know that what is the kind of the fuel wood people extract from the forest. Based on that, and also the market value of the fuel wood and the cost of the fuel wood extraction. Based on that, we have quantified the worth of the fuel wood, some goods, which is about the 181 million rupees per year. Okay. So then we have done the regulating services in terms of carbon sequestration, soil conservation, groundwater recharge, nutrient cycling, pollination, air purification. I repeat what I said earlier. For the first time in the country, the regulating services has been done using the primary data. All along, if you look at published literature, people have adapted the value based on the experiment done in some other countries, and they have taken the value to the Indian condition, and they have done the quantification. And Jivit Nadi, the foundation, the invitation made us to do this analysis because it's a smaller catchment. We took advantage of the small catchment to do the quantification. Now, probably this will become a model for other studies in the countries. When we did the carbon stock, this is the region where we have traveled, we have tracked, and we collected the biomass data, that is the above ground biomass in terms of the girth and height of a tree, and we quantified what is the carbon that is stored in the forest and what is the worth of this one, which amounts to about 300 billion rupees. This is the stored carbon. It is like how much carbon that is stored is depending on the life of the forest. You can say this much carbon is stored in this one. That also gives the tons per hectare values also. Okay. Then per year, how much carbon gets added? We also based on the net primary productivity and also increase in the girth of the tree. one can assess that we have done the quantification, which amounts to about 29 the billion rupees per year. Okay. So then soil conservation, as I explained earlier, we use the invest model and we looked at the sediment delivery ratio and considering the local rainfall, soil erodibility, land use and topographic data, we have done the quantification of this one, okay, in the soil conservation, which is about 93 billion rupees per year. Then groundwater recharge is about 1,495 billion rupees per year. Okay, so that shows that of course this is based on the data that what we got from the groundwater department, and there are various the observation wells there, and also in addition to that we got the data from the published literature also, which was used to do the quantification. You can see that the Central Groundwater Control Board, Pune, the data we have used for the quantification, which amount to about 1,495 the the million rupees per year. Okay, so then nutrient cycling is about 100 million rupees is the worth of the nutrient cycling in the catchment. Then pollination amounts to 1,438 the million rupees per year in this catchment of about the 2039 square kilometers. Okay, then air purification amounts to about 177 the million rupees per year. Okay, so then habitat protection, as I explained earlier, based on the value for managing the national park or sanctuary, it amounts to about 364 million rupees per year. So now we have done the quantification of all the regulating services. Similarly, we did the cultural services based on the data available from the forest department on the research project that has been funded to do the research in the region. And also we compile the information related to the ecotourism online, the and other sources. So based on that, the ecosystem services in terms of cultural service amounts to about 50 billion rupees. Now we have done the quantification of the ecosystem services in terms of provisioning, regulating, and cultural services. Now, when we aggregate that, we get the total ecosystem supply value per year. Then, using that total ecosystem supply value per year and considering the life of the asset as 50 years and the discount rate of 3%, we have computed net present value. Now, when we did that, you see that the total ecosystem supply value amounts to about 50 billion rupees per year. You know, so now NPV, so the TSV is about the you can look at the number 18,114 million rupees per year, and NPV amounts to about 4,66,000 million rupees. Okay, so then TSV for that the streams with a 100-meter buffer. We did the study because as per the norm, 100-meter is a no the development zone as per the government of India norms. Okay, so which amounts to about 1,619 hectares, and TSV of that region amounts to about 398 million rupees, or the NPV of this is about 10,249 million rupees. Okay. Now, even then there is a small confluence region which I visited. There was a sacred grove and all those, the which good vegetation also. There are good trees all in the region. When we did that Ramula confluence, area is about 6.9 hectares. The total ecosystem supply value is 1.7 million rupees per year, or NPV is about 43 million rupees. Okay. So okay, this is that region which corresponds to 6.9 hectares, and about the worth is about 1.7 million rupees per year. Okay, so now this is the team we did the work. You can see everyone actively involved in that. I mean, we are grateful to Madam Revati. Connect to the next level. We developed the Western Ghats Spatial Decision Support System. You can access this web page. We launched this on July 24 in a remote village in Shumaga district. Yeah, when I was invited to deliver the KV Suparna Memorial Lecture, KV Suparna is a well-known Kannada poet who passed away some time back. In his memory, I delivered the lecture. On that day, they launched this web page in that forum. My thinking was to see how effective is this kind of the thing, whether it would reach the Delhi. As I anticipated, there was a discussion in the parliament about this the facility, the decision support system, and how much it is being used by the government for the decision making. And also a committee was sent to my lab to discuss with me about this. When I highlighted the carbon, etc., the chairman of the committee told me that this is one of the very interesting outcome of this work. I will take it to the government of Karnataka. He met the minister in charge of the environment and forest the next day. After the deliberation, when the minister was told about the ecosystem value and also just about the carbon sequestration, the minister said that he will agree to implement the Kasturi Rangan committee report. All along, people didn't want Madhav Gadgil committee report or Kasturi Rangan committee report because they were against, once these are ecologically sensitive regions are delineated, these mafias will not have the access to do the exploitation of the resources. They were worried about it, and there was a publicity wrong, the message in the system, unnecessary publicity had happened in the system. At that time, somebody had gone to the Supreme Court with a PIL asking this the conservation of the ecologically fragile region. That time the Supreme Court asked all the state government to provide the list of the villages which are ecologically sensitive and what are the level of sensitiveness, whether they are ESR 1, 2, 3, or 4. None of the state government, including Maharashtra, didn't respond to the Supreme Court, the the whatever the request. Then, since I work in NGT, one of the expert member of the National Green Tribunal asked me whether we can do something. Then I had mentioned to him, I will not only provide the details to the court, I will also make it available to the public. So that's where we launched this portal where people can access their village. They can choose their state, they can choose their district and taluk and then village and see the ecological sensitiveness. If you want water and food, you need to protect this ecologically sensitive region. That is what my first part of the talk. And to make it that happen, through the advocacy for decision making, we have developed this system. Now I'm in the last part of my presentation, the society relevant science. We developed the the low cost wastewater treatment based on the nature based solution. Then rainwater harvesting, then creating the water bodies, mini forest. We have created, demonstrated the utility of that, and whatever we have learned, we will also disseminate to the wider section of the society through the environmental education program. My thinking is when people are environmentally literate, they'll become sensible. When they are sensible, they'll become responsible. And when they are responsible, they become an asset to the nation. That's what I want to give it to my nation. That's where we are working towards that. Okay. And today's talk is also in that direction to enhance the awareness among citizens about the worth of the ecosystem. All of us have not understood the worth of a mother at home. If you have done the services provided by mother and valuation, then we wouldn't have the ill treated the mother. That is where the worth of the ecosystem, once we know the worth of the ecosystem, then all of us will also learn else. Not only students are happy with the thing, we also have otter in the campus. We don't know from where it has come, but we have the otter in the campus, which is a voracious eater of the fish. When we did the biodiversity assessment of this water body, we found there is enough algae, the zooplankton, and fish. That means nature knows how to maintain balance to sustain all the living organism when we facilitate. Our job is to create the water body, store 10 lakh liters of water. I stay on the campus. My family requires 500 liters a day. That means about 1 lakh and 1.5 lakh liters. And I'm putting back 10 times that. If every citizen does it, there won't be a poverty of water on the earth. Even if you look at our this saying from Mood